By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality bikes, which might lead to another discovery. Getting back on the saddle isn't always comfortable. Good news is Sierra has massage guns. And chafe wipes, too. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Hey guys, welcome to the Final Whistle podcast, Game Week 10. Top highlights: Man City stunned by Bournemouth, Arsenal title hopes dented by Newcastle. It was a tale of two halves for Slot's Reds against Brighton. Rude's Reds and Chelsea shared the points at Old Trafford. Spurs thump Villa 4-1 and Southampton win their first Premier League game and keep a clean sheet. What is this madness? Ben, what is going on?
I'm honestly not sure. It's a really mental weekend of football, isn't it?
It really has been. Oh my gosh, yeah. Commiserations if your team was on the losing end there. But I guess we always have a tradition on this show, Ben, where we always start with a 4:30. So obviously some big news broke this week. Ten Hag got sacked, obviously after the inevitable with what happened with West Ham last weekend. Rude is in charge. Amarim's coming in. This one, I thought would be very, very tasty. What did you make of this? It finished 1-1. I thought Man United started off quite right in the first 15 minutes. And then they kind of descended to their usual, meh selves.
Yeah, I thought Man United were pretty poor. It was a pretty underwhelming game though as well. Mm-hmm. I thought Chelsea were in control for most of it, other than maybe that 10-15 minute spell in the second half there, United get the goal. I thought you could see the difference in quality between the two sides, but Chelsea just couldn't really seem to create anything too clear cut. I mean, even the goal they do score is an absolute worldie from Caicedo. But yeah, I was really looking forward to this game, and it was a bit underwhelming. But
yeah,
that's the one.
I have to agree with you. I thought it very, like you said, the quality just wasn't there in the final balls. For Chelsea, I thought Cole Palmer had a really quiet game. I thought, the defensive midfield pairing of Chelsea worked really, really hard. And you spoke about Caicedo there as well. And I think he's really finding form now with Chelsea this season. And, he scores a wonderful goal. And, United, for me, the final ball just was not there for them. Maybe their standout performer was probably Mazraoui. I pronounced that right.
Yep.
Thanking you. Look at me growing and maturing on the pod. But yeah, for me, I thought the game probably came to life in the last 20 minutes, where, you had that incident with, oh my God, Martinez was a very lucky boy as well, by the way.
Yeah, he definitely knows exactly what he's doing there. 100%. I think he's really lucky. Some of the red cards you've seen this season, and to be honest, I felt Palmer kind of got away with one. It could have been a lot worse for him.
Yeah, I think so as well. That's the second time this season where Martinez has been a bit suspect. I mean, we saw what he did against Crystal Palace Kamada, where he imagines fake tackling. I don't know what he did. Oh, God, it's just so bizarre. But yeah, really, really reckless stuff. I did think someone was going to get sent off in this game, Ben, with the amount of yellow cards that I saw the ref giving.
Yeah, I think Agade was on a fine line. I'm sure he got booked in the first half, and he kept just fouling over and over again. Yeah. And I thought, to be honest, the midfield was the main difference between the two teams. I thought Casemiro and Agade on the ball are pretty woeful. And then I think Caicedo and Lavia are forming a really good partnership for Chelsea, sorry. And yeah, I think Caicedo was brilliant today.
I would have to agree with everything what you said there. Do you think a point is a fair result, or do you think Chelsea will be kicking themselves thinking, you know what, we could have gone with we could have taken all three here?
Yeah, I think Chelsea will be kicking themselves that they didn't kick on more. But to be fair, when you look at the chances that each team created, it's probably a draw is probably the right result. So I don't think either of them really created anything too clear cut. I thought Man United were a bit fortunate on the penalty. I think it's soft. I think the keeper's a bit unlucky, but when you go diving out like that, the slightest contact is going to get given, isn't it? So
he completely grabbed his foot. I mean, like, I think that keeper is a bit suspect anyway.
Yeah.
It's like he had a moment in him.
Yeah, we saw it against Liverpool, and then I think it was Brighton a couple of weeks before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Considering they have 8 keepers, you'd think one of them would be pretty good.
The search continues. Continues. Right. Okay. So we spoke about Man United and Chelsea. Now let's go to the early kickoff from today. Spurs doing Spurs. 1 week they win, 1 week they lose. They're back to winning ways. They did go a goal behind and ended the half that way. I think Rodgers got the goal for them on 31st minute. I do think overall Spurs were the better team and really, really kicked on and cracked on in the second half for me. Like, it was just the early response again. I think Ange has form in that. But it's in the second half, and Son, who was very, very quiet, of course, helping Johnson, getting the assist for him, but fantastic response.
Yeah, it's a statement win for Tottenham. It's one of those where I think I said it was last week that yes, to beat Man United and yes, to smash West Ham, but both of those sides are really poor this season. But you can't say the same for Aston Villa. They won today based on their own merit, and some of the forward players that they've got. I mean, Son, like you say, was quiet, but you've got Brennan Johnson on absolute fire at the moment, Solanke on fire, and then when you bring someone of Maddison's quality off the bench, you're not in a bad position at all.
No, you're not. And, Solanke there getting 2 goals. And I'll be honest with you, when Ange made the subs of Son, I was like, he's growing into this game. This could be very, very costly. And obviously brings on Richarlison. I was a little bit concerned. And I understand why he took off Bentancur, because he was on a yellow and he was throwing in some rash challenges this game. Like, I felt like it could have ended quite badly.
Yeah.
But the subs really worked out, because obviously Richarlison does get the assist for Solanke's first goal, and then obviously he goes off injured, which I felt like this game had a lot of injuries. I think Romero went off injured as well, and I think Matty Cash goes off injured for Aston Villa. But Aston Villa were below their best in this game, and Spurs were just on it, and they didn't stop till the very end. I mean, in injury time, that Maddison free kick was just pretty much the icing on the cake. But Solanke's goals for me, especially the second one, the way Kulusevski just finds that ball in that little bit of space between 2 defenders, and the movement and the intelligence of Solanke. I'm glad he's kicking on at Spurs.
Yeah, he's doing really well. And one thing I would say on the whole Son being substituted is, I mean, I'm sure I'm not wrong. It was 1-1 when Son came off, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, that would have never happened a year ago. The thought of subbing Son off, and I think we see it with a lot of teams where once they stop relying so heavily on one player, they become a better team overall. And I think that's what we're seeing now with Tottenham, with like Kulusevski stepping up and Johnson. That reliance on Son isn't there, and I think it does kind of benefit them as a team on the whole. If that makes sense.
Nope, completely makes sense, because you did find that if we're talking about the bygone eras when Kane and Son weren't firing, it looked like to be, disjointed and things weren't quite happening for them. No, I will agree with you on that. I think that's a really good point, and it's something that I've overlooked as well. Right, so Villa will be kicking themselves at that, in my opinion. Had a chance to make.
Yeah, I fancied them as well. They always do quite a lot at Tottenham, and when they went 1-0 up, I thought they might kick on, but yeah, they'll be really disappointed.
They will be. Right, those are the Sunday games done. Ben, where are we going next?
Let's go with Newcastle Arsenal, the early one.
Oh, the early kickoff.
Yeah.
Did you manage to catch any of this?
I only managed to catch the highlights because I was on the way down to the Liverpool game, but I was listening to it on the radio and it sounded like Arsenal just got bullied more than anything, to be honest. Yeah,
I mean, it was an early goal. I tell you what, 12 minutes in, Isak scores. Gordon was on it this game in my opinion. First half, he was really, really lively. I would agree with you. I thought the fullbacks of Newcastle worked really hard, especially Hall on Saka, because obviously he is their like creative output. But the front men, in terms of like, Havertz weren't just quite on it. The final ball wasn't there. Even the set pieces were really poor from Arsenal. I have to give a lot of credit to Newcastle. I thought not only were they good with the ball, but they were good without it. And the way, I thought Bruno Guimaraes worked so hard in that midfield. And it was just a really, really good team effort.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm sure that Julian was more towards the left as well, and he put on a real shift to kind of double up on Saka as well with Holt. I think that worked really well. And I think you look at, obviously, Odegaard's injured and Arsenal are making this big thing out of the injuries, but ultimately it is just two players injured. And I don't know whether I'm missing something, but Thomas Partey played right back again, didn't he?
He did.
And you've got Ben White on the bench.
It's just really, really bizarre. Because I felt like, look, I think the game swallows Rice up if Partey is not with him. I'm just going to be with you. I feel like there's an overhyping with. I think he needs somebody there. But yeah, for me, Arsenal were just not on it. And you're right. I mean, Gabriel came back for them because obviously he picked up that little bit of a knock against Liverpool. Timber played as well, and it just wasn't it. And I have to give a lot of credit for Newcastle, because as much as we can sit here and say, oh, Arsenal were poor, but that was a real mammoth shift in performance and result by Newcastle. Yeah,
it was, and it's obviously off the back of the Chelsea win during the week as well.
Yes,
so I think weeks like this can really kind of propel your season, and it'll be interesting to see how they push on. And Newcastle at St James's Park was never easy. I know they had a disappointing result at Brighton, but I think that speaks volumes of how good Brighton are. We'll get on to them in a bit, but Newcastle away is always a tricky place to go, and I did kind of fancy them to get something off Arsenal, because I don't want to just keep on questioning Arsenal, but it seems to be every time they go somewhere intimidating, they do kind of seem to buckle a little bit. And when you have Trossard as part of your midfield three, it's kind of, you're asking for the game to go one way from the start, and I think they'd kill to have Smith Rowe back. But that's kind of just the irony in football sometimes. But yeah, I think Newcastle were brilliant, and Gordon seems to really put in a shift, and Isaac's alongside him as well. So if they can keep both of them fit together, then I think the firepower up front will start to return as well.
Yeah, you'd think so. You absolutely would think so. Where should we go now?
We'll go with Bournemouth, Man City. We'll stick on the title race sort of results to start with.
Okay, right. This one is an absolute shocker. 2-1 Bournemouth.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Add excitement to your holidays with Ohio Lottery Holiday Scratch-Offs, including $1 holiday cash and $5 holiday lucky times 10, or holiday bonus millions with a 200 times multiplier and a $2 million top prize. Plus, enjoy second chance drawings where you can win 10 times, 100 times, or 1,000 times the price of your ticket. Scratch-Offs make the perfect gift, and best of all, there's no wrapping required. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Time to move? Skip the hassles of selling during the holiday season and sell your home directly to Opendoor. Request an all-cash offer in minutes, close, and get paid in days. You can even pick your close date so you can move after New Year's. Start your move at Opendoor.com or download the Opendoor app. Opendoor is represented by Opendoor Brokerage Inc., license 02061130 in California, and Opendoor Brokerage LLC in its other markets. Terms and conditions apply.
obviously, it's a spoiler alert. You were at the game. This one, the score kept flashing up for me. So, I was really, really shocked at this one. Semenyo, the turn and shoot and the way he just puts it away, it was just absolutely fantastic. And even Elson makes it 2-0. I guess the start for them was obviously Semenyo, but Kirkes getting, I think, 2 in this game. I mean, like, you have to give him a shout out there because they were absolutely fearless. I felt like they worked really hard. They could have had a few more as well, actually. They've already put in some great saves, in my opinion, for Man City. Edison.
Yeah, definitely. I think you always kind of overanalyze games like this, but I generally just think Bournemouth were better. And I know that sounds mental to even be saying that, but I thought Bournemouth were just better than Man City. And like you say, Semenyo and Kirkes were both sensational. I think both of them will be on the watch list for a couple of top clubs over the next couple of windows. But for City, it's quite worrying because I feel like this defeat these defeats because they got beat during the week as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think it has kind of been coming. They're kind of struggling to break teams down. I think I spoke about that last week, and they're starting to struggle defensively as well. I thought Kyle Walker, he looks like he's fallen off a cliff in terms of his pace and his kind of physicality. And I think that's kind of been coming for a while, and he's kind of been protected. But yesterday, it was Semenyo had him on absolute strings,
which is I think Semenyo has a lot of people on strings. I think he's been one of the most impressive players in the Premier League. I guess for me, what I find really, really bizarre when you're looking for the creative output and you look at the quality that Man City have, and it's that guy Gvardiol who, again, gets them the goal in the 82nd minute, and you think, right, the inevitable is going to happen here, and this is what kick on. There's so much pressure for Man City, and I have to give so much credit for Bournemouth because they really had to absorb that. That is hard.
Yeah. I mean, I know we'll get on to the Liverpool game in a second, but people were checking their phones quite regularly to see what the score was, and when Man City got the goal back, there was the lad sat next to me. We both just looked at each other and were like, "Here we go." But no, Bournemouth done really well to hold on, and that sort of defensive solidness, Iraola really has kind of pushed that on. Bournemouth have always kind of struggled defensively in the Premier League, I think, when they're under Howe, and that doesn't really seem to be the case in Iraola. And yeah, I think it's the first time in the history that they've beat Man City, so it's a huge result for them. And when you look at the recent results as well, beating Arsenal, drawing away at Villa, and then beating Man City, and they've come close in other games and early on in the season, they look really, really impressive.
Yes, speaking of them, you spoke about being shocked. I'm just shocked that you got signal in Anfield. That's the first thing that you can see score updates. But yeah, that's the first Premier League win for Bournemouth against Man City, and the 32-match unbeaten run comes to an end for Man City as well. So now pretty much in the Premier League, every team has been beaten, so anyone can beat anyone. That's really cool. But yeah, really, really good result for the Premier League. I think, opens things up. Also makes City look less... I feel like in the past, teams have not got stuck into it. And, I hope this season, we see, teams fancying themselves because, I think every game is pretty much tough, but we'll get to some teams in a bit. But yeah, fantastic result for Bournemouth. I love the fact that they've completely turned it around with this manager as well, because obviously he came in last season and, the critics were a bit skeptical of him, and he's got a nice little identity of football there. So a wonderful result. Right, Ben, where next? Should we go to Anfield?
Yeah, let's go Anfield. Yeah, let's do it.
You were there, so I'm going to let you set the scene, set the stage.
Well, I mean, to start with, we've got to give credit to Brian because first half they absolutely played Liverpool off the park. Liverpool couldn't get near them. Liverpool couldn't create anything at all. I mean, Brighton could have been 3 or 4-0 up. It really reminded us of Forest, and I sat up in the main stand for the Forest game, and I was sat pretty much near the same seat, and I was thinking,
Did you end up on the box again? Were you on Match of the Day?
No, not this time.
No goals at your end?
No. So I thought, I'm never sitting up here ever again if we get beaten. But yeah, second half, completely different. The difference in the crowd between the first and the second half. And I tweeted after the game yesterday, I don't know when teams will learn to come downfield and not to wind the crowd up and it's the worst thing you can do, and that's exactly what Brighton done. Time wasting and faking injuries from 2 minutes into the second half, and from there the crowd was booing and hissing it every single time we were on the ball. And Liverpool, the players just fed off it, and the subs made a huge impact. And from as soon as the equaliser went in, you knew what was going to happen in front of the Kop. We've seen it plenty of times before, and it's nice to see Slot kind of replicating that mentality thing that was so good under Klopp.
Indeed, I think for me, I watched it obviously on a stream, and I found that Liverpool just looked really, really slow on everything. I felt like they were in the 50-50s. The passing was completely off. The midfield for me just didn't quite work for them. I thought, is it Ayari for them? Was just having a field day. Some of the balls that he was putting in, and the goals that they scored as well. 3 goals were scored. The goal that they scored was just so well worked with Matoma. Once he started growing into that game, you knew exactly what he's capable of. But it was a wonderful goal that they scored. And you know what? To be fair, it could have been 2-3-0 to them in that first half. Let's be absolutely brutally honest. Kelleher with some big saves there as well, and some very close free kicks by Welbeck. But in the second half, I thought Liverpool played with a lot more intensity. I think they had a couple of chances. I think Salah had one. I think Van Dijk had one as well, where we were coming closer. I guess for me, the highlight from Liverpool in that first half was, and I'm sure you saw it because you were on that end, was Nunez, where he kind of swivels and turns the player, runs and takes a shot and forces a great save. But yeah, Gakpo getting that goal. I love the fact that he admitted that it was an assist and he was staying in, because players don't like to admit that. And Salah just showing everyone what he's all about. But for me, the game-changing moments in those was the subs that Slot made. And I think, Jones coming in and Luis Diaz involved instantly.
Yeah, that's another thing that I pointed out after the game is, Liverpool have injuries, more injuries than Arsenal. Just putting that out there. To have the quality off the bench that they brought on really speaks volumes to how strong this Liverpool squad really is, and maybe some people overlook that. Gomez, when he came on for Canate, when Canate went off at half-time, everyone in the crowd was thankfully he seems to be okay, so I think he should be back pretty soon. But Joe Gomez came in and he was absolutely immense, almost scored. Who would have believed it?
That 2018 season, that's how it was. Yeah,
he was brilliant. He was really fired up for it as well. Jones and Diaz both coming on, moving the ball 10 times quicker than what we were moving it with the midfield before. And Diaz kind of came in and played that 10 role perfectly. And then Salah grabs that goal. Where do we even start with Salah? Absolute joke. And the second he cuts in, you know what's going to happen. And the let-off when that went in was absolutely amazing.
With Uber Reserve, good things come to those who plan ahead. Family vacay? Reserve your ride as soon as you book your flights. To all the planners, now you can reserve your Uber ride up to 90 days in advance. See Uber app for details.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. To check you have the tickets in your wallet first before you drive 2 hours to the big game. Seriously, you had one job. Now the closest you'll get to the 50-yard line is parking lot D. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
It was. And when you were in this, obviously you were in the stadium, were you because I felt like it descended into a bit of a basketball game.
Yeah. And I just with the quality that Liverpool have, I think that kind of suits them. And you saw something even the likes of Szoboszlai going flying into tackles that we don't normally see. First half, Trent was getting absolutely ripped apart by Matoma, there's no real shame in that. Matoma's a great player, but second half he absolutely bullied him. And there's that clip of him in his stooping and in the corner, sitting there going at it, and the crowd was just well and truly up for it. And yeah, the players seem to just feed off it completely. And then when you've got the quality that we've got up front, you can punish teams for it, and that's just what happened. And Brighton were really unlucky, though. They were really, really good, but I think they just kind of set back and kind of try to settle for 1-0 a bit earlier than what they probably ideally would have hoped for.
No, for sure. And that puts Liverpool on top of the Premier League. Slot is certainly doing a job at Liverpool. Right, let's move on. Where should we go now?
Let's go with Southampton, Everton.
Okay, let's go there. Shocker.
Yeah.
Absolute shocker. What did you make of this one? Because I was like, Southampton won the pressing, the possession, sorry. They scored a goal and they kept a clean sheet. You know, 3 very, very shocking factors. I mean, I think for me, when I look at Everton, and I felt like maybe they came more into life when I think Beto comes on for Calvert-Lewin. He hits the crossbar, and obviously the score flashed on my phone. That is 1-1, and then obviously it was chalked off for offside. You know, there was a bit of drama there, but Armstrong getting the goal in 85 minutes, a direct response actually from the Beto crossbar hit. So, played.
Yeah. You've got to give credit to Southampton just digging in and getting that result. That was the main thing. I thought Everton created more chances and probably created enough to at least get a point out of the game. But
Ramsdale with some big saves in there.
Yeah, Ramsdale played really well. I know everyone's really quick to kind of jump on him and criticise him when he doesn't play well. So it's only fair that everyone gives him the credit when he deserves it. But it's a huge win for Southampton. But I think Everton will be really frustrated, and I think it's only a matter of time before Beto maybe starting more games ahead of Calvert-Lewin, because I know he hits the crossbar when he should score, but he takes the goal that was offside really well, and that was really unfortunate. It just seems to be a bit more of a threat up front, a bit more lively than Calvert-Lewin.
I 100% agree with you. I would start with him, and I also find it really bizarre as well that he doesn't play Branthwaite. You know, he's probably a better defender. I don't still rate him on the bench. Some of Dyche's decisions I find mind-boggling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think Beto should definitely start. He just looks like more of a threat. I feel like he connects better as well. And he's just more of a threat. And I just feel like he offers a lot more. I feel like sometimes Calvert-Lewin, the game just swallows him up. I don't know what he is, but he just gets lost.
Yeah, and Everton spent a lot of money on Beto as well. I think people forget how much they actually spent. I'm sure it was around 30 million that they spent on Beto. So with the financial situation that they're in, they couldn't afford to do that very often. So maybe they should start making the most of the player that they managed to get.
Agreed, 100%. Yeah, fantastic point for Southampton. I never thought, they would be winning a game before Ipswich. Let's go there. Ipswich versus Leicester. I can't lie. I was watching the Liverpool game and I was fixated with this one because it looked like Ipswich almost had it. Yeah,
so close. So close. They should have been out of sight as well with some of the chances they had. I mean, Chaplin could have had a couple. Delap had a decent chance, but they should have had a penalty. I thought it was actually a penalty, but I know McKenna really wasn't happy after. I don't know if you've seen his post-match interview, but he was fuming. I don't blame him because that's a stonewall penalty in my opinion.
It is, and again, I think there's a trend here because Phillips gets sent off against another player gets sent off for Ipswich, and they're holding on for dear life, and I think it's Bergs who puts in a huge block on AU shot, and then obviously injury time, and the experience of Vardy and AU just linking up, and it's a massive sucker blow, but. What a wonderful goal by Davis, by the way. They look like they're nearly there, but you keep pointing it out, and it's kind of highlight. It's the discipline to close out the game and see the game out. And right at the death of that game, this is where I was paying attention because I was invested in this one. I wanted them to win, and didn't quite happen for them. But and you're right about that penalty shout and the sending off because those are defining moments, and especially for teams like this, teams that are absolutely battling for points. So
every point matters.
Yeah, devastating stuff for Ipswich. Right, 2 more games. Where should we go next?
Let's go with Wolves Crystal Palace while we're down the end of the table.
Yeah, again, this was another 6 point. I feel like there were some big fixtures this weekend. You wouldn't think it, but for me, that first half was a struggle train. It really was. And I felt like, oh gosh, here's another dull 5:30 kickoff. I'm not enjoying this one. Second half came to life. Some bad defending. It finished 2-2, but I'll take it all day, every day. What did you make of this one? I mean, do you think either team is satisfied with the point?
No, definitely not. I think they're both pretty frustrated. I thought Palace, obviously, again, I was on the way back from the match. I didn't watch it live. I was listening to it and I caught the highlights, but it seemed to me like Palace edged it a little bit in terms of chances. And Gary O'Neill's really on a tightrope. I heard, again, while I was listening to it, I heard the Wolves fans were chanting, "You don't know what you're doing" to him, and they booed them off at the final whistle. So they've got Southampton next week, and if he's in charge for that, I think anything other than a win, and he could be under some real pressure.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, for me, the star men, I mean, obviously, Cunha is just something else for them, in my opinion. And they got like João Gomez and Larson scored for them, and so did João Gomez. But the goals that they concede.
Yeah. That one where the keeper comes out and they make a mess of it, stuff like that, you just can't be letting happen, especially against teams down there where, you've got to pick up 3 points. You can't be affording to make mistakes like that.
Yeah, and then obviously Guay at the back post on the corner.
Yeah.
Nobody there. And it's that kind of carelessness, because I feel like attacking-wise, they look okay.
Yeah.
I feel like they can do stuff. They've got players that can unlock the attackers, but it's just what they do. And I feel like they just let themselves down constantly. And, they concede some really, really stupid goals. But yeah, it's a massive concern for them. I think it's something they need to work on. Palace are getting better. It's good to see that for them as well, because obviously they really did, they had a wonderful end of season with Glasner. So, yeah, we'll have to watch this one. But yeah, I agree.
Just on that as well, when we're talking about Wolves, they got let off in the dying moments as well, because I thought Mateta's goal that got disallowed should never have been disallowed, and that was a mess defensively from them. I know we haven't really touched on referees, but I think that's an awful decision. I don't know what they've seen. They give a free kick against Mateta on that one, but that's another example of these kind of moments that define seasons, and Crystal Palace should have really won 3-2 with that, because there's nothing wrong with it at all.
Yeah, I think it's because the goalkeeper, I saw the match of the analysis, that he had both hands on it. I think Joe Hart was analysing it, that he had both hands, so you think...
Yeah, I see that, but...
The player's not going to stop. They're running in full impact. Yeah. I find it really bizarre. It was like Rashford... Oh, sorry, I'm on a mad tangent. You spoke about referees there. But I saw Rashford getting booked for slamming the ground with his hand because the ref gave a foul against him. These players are not robots.
Yeah, it's been the criticism for referees for a while now. They're trying to take every emotion out of the game. It's so annoying. But just on that Wolves one, unless I've seen it, the reason why I think it's a penalty is because he does have... But it seems like his own force comes through and knocks it out of his own hands. Unless I've seen it wrong. But yeah, I thought it was a strange decision. But
I thought they were lucky. Because I do think goalies are like massively protected. I can't lie. Like the rules that protect them are just absolutely bizarre. But yeah, other referees would just allow that to happen. I think it still depends on the referee,
that's the frustrating thing, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no consistency, and I think that's where we're constantly baffled. And then you sit there as a supporter saying, I don't know the rules, because each ref has their own interpretation of what is going on and what's going down. But yeah. 2-2 it finished. It could have been worse for Wolves, and I agree with you. I do think I think he has lost the fans.
Yeah, I agree. And I was listening TalkSport on the way back, and Jamie O'Hara was on it. Although some people might not take Jamie O'Hara for Bible, but obviously he used to play for Wolves, and he was saying that once you lose the fans, it's incredibly hard to win them back. So it'll be a shame, because I do quite like Gary O'Neill, but the excuse at the start of the season was they played tough games, but they've had a pretty reasonable run of games recently and haven't managed to pick any wins up. So there's only so long that can keep on going on for.
Absolutely right. Let's move on to the last one. Nottingham Forest 3, West Ham nil. Forest are in a Champions League spot. They're third at the moment, which is fabulous. And that boy Wood just can't stop scoring for them. Again, poor discipline from West Ham. I think they look really lethargic, look really bad. But Alvarez gets a double booking, which gives him a red. Basically, he's red and he's off. And it's a massive struggle train for West Ham at this point. Hudson-Odoi, that goal was absolutely lovely, by the way.
Yeah, and Innes was
oh gosh, yes.
Honestly, everything they're doing just seems to be turned into goal at the moment. And I backed them at the start of the season to be down there, but I've been proved wrong. And they're so fun to watch as well. Sometimes we think of Nottingham Forest as maybe one of those teams that just outfight teams and kind of grind out results. But some of the football they play is absolutely amazing. And the likes of Elliot Anderson, I know questions were raised over his move in the summer because it was mainly down to financial fair play, but he's been absolutely brilliant. And Ryan Yates, who's been with them for so long, is now finally getting a chance, and he's captain in the team, I'm pretty sure, and he's been amazing. So everything just seems to be going right for them, and then it's pretty much the opposite for West Ham at the minute. And Lopetegui losing it on the bench all the time, but the way he's setting up the team, sometimes he's losing the games before they even start. And I think patience is starting to really run thin with him as well.
He's got a quality side, and he's got played. I think what really impressed me about West Ham, Forest in this game, was the fact they were pushing for a fourth goal. I think Yates scored an offside. Yeah. They were just, really wanted to stick it to West Ham, and they are a really good team to watch. And I never thought I'd say that, but yeah, they've got some quality players as well. And obviously, when they first got promoted, they bought a whole load of players, and it felt like a bit of a jumble sale for Steve Cooper, because I felt like he was constantly changing the starting 11, trying to find the right formation that works. I felt like he bought bit part kind of players from teams like I think Lingard was there and those kind of players, and play that they were relying on, and then obviously chopping and changing, getting rid. But Núñez has done. He's doing really well there, and I think the fans will be absolutely delighted. And I don't think they're a team that anybody wants to play. I mean, he has given Arne Slot absolute nightmares.
Yeah, he's still going on about it, isn't he? Arne Slot in every single interview. And just on Forest as well, I know everyone's so quick to, and rightly so, they've been playing brilliantly. The likes of Wood, Hudson-Odoi, Elanga, going forward, all those kind of players, but they've only conceded 7 goals, and only Liverpool's conceded less than them, which is absolutely amazing. And Murillo was obviously really good last season, and was a couple of teams were rumoured to be interested in him in the summer, and then they brought in Milinkovic, who seems to be a really, really good player. And then the likes of Aina, who'd been in the Premier League came from Chelsea, and he'd been at Fulham, and it never seemed to work from him. He looks like a revelation, and so they deserve massive credit as well. And they just look like a complete team. I mean, I don't know how. I said this last week, and they could prove me wrong. I don't know how long it'll last. I mean, I had highly doubt they'll finish third, but they've been maybe the surprise package this season, and so fun to watch, and hopefully they can keep it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at the quality that West Ham have, they brought in the likes of Hillman from Wolves, who I thought was Wolves' best defender. They got Paqueta there, they got Bowen. Wan-Bissaka from Man United, and they do have decent players, but it's just not happening for them. And and of course we know Kudus was suspended and stuff. But yeah, I think worrying times for West Ham. I think it'll click. It's just going to take a little bit of time, a new manager and all that as well. But yeah, Forest sat third in the Premier League. Who would have thought? Incredible stuff. Just to let listeners know, I'm sure they already know, there is a Monday night game, which obviously we can't cover. Fulham Brentford. Sorry, you don't get to Ben. You don't get to talk about one more, and you don't get to the men, Adama Traore's and Mispa shots. I'm sorry, you have been denied all those
time this season.
Maybe hold on to that vengeance for the next show that we do, but come to the end of this one. Any takeaways from you? Any kind of final thoughts that you kind of want to share? I just think it's been a fantastic week of football, like a game. Football. There's so many shocks and surprises, which is what the Premier League's all about. People say it's the best league in the world, and I feel like it just gets said. But this weekend felt like it, with all the upsets.
to be fair, I've really enjoyed the whole season so far. Like you say, everyone's beaten everyone, and I know for so long the talk had been about the top 6 really distancing themselves, but I think over recent years the gap's really, really closing between I know people are looking at the likes of Liverpool, Man City and Arsenal and clearing the streets ahead, but the gap between the so-called big 6, I don't really think there is one right now. You look at the struggles that Man United and Chelsea have had lately. I know Chelsea are on the way back up now, but the success of Aston Villa, you've seen it with Forest this year. Brighton look really good. Bournemouth, Newcastle, no doubt be up there. It's still fun to watch.
Yeah, Newcastle climbing up now. So, yeah, it's looking really, really interesting and tasty. And the bottom just as well.
Yeah, you look, Wolves on 3 points from 10 games. You expect them to start picking it up. And once they do, you're looking at maybe 7 teams that are all going to be fighting amongst each other. And it's going to be really, really interesting. But hopefully the likes of Ipswich and Wolves can get them wins and make that a bit more interesting. But yeah, I'm absolutely loving it at the minute. It's so fun. And I'm really enjoying coming on here and just talking about all the football and not having any boring weekends. I generally don't think we've done one of these where we've struggled for anything to talk about. There's been so much to talk about.
There has been so much to talk about. It's just a shame that after next week there's going to be another international break to in the rhythm and stuff. But yeah, I agree with you on that one. Right, guys, we have come to the end of Game Week 10 talking points. I hope you enjoyed it as much as myself and Ben. Ben, before I let you go, you're a busy guy. Where can people find you on social media? And is there anything you'd like to plug? I know, you've got loads of work going on.
Yeah, so just Ben Pesco Journal on Twitter, or X as it's now called. All my work goes on there. Interviews with former players and on Anfield Index and EPL Index, so it's not just Liverpool content. But yeah, all my kind of football opinions and work goes on there. That's the best place to keep up to date with everything.
Give him a follow, check out his work. He works really hard and his work is incredible. For my part, EPL's really busy. There's loads of articles, as you all know. Some great podcasts coming your way as well. I'm sure Tadiva will be back with a tad predictable. And as always, there's the two-footed, gosh, if I could put my teeth back in, the two-footed podcast with Dave Hendrick, which is it's always a brilliant listen. So do check that out. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Take care, and we'll catch you next weekend. So bye from us.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.